There's a rule that says every minute spent in planning saves 10 minutes in execution or carrying out the plan. So, be a planner and think on paper. Think on paper. Plan each day, each week, and each month in advance. All successful people plan in advance, which gives them a chance to think through what might happen and what they could do to either make it better or to avoid danger. Plan each month at the beginning of the month. Lay out the 30 days and work out what you're going to do each day of the month, just generally speaking. Plan each week the weekend before. Take a clean sheet of paper and write down goals and today's date, and then write down 10 goals that you would like to accomplish in the next 12 months. Don't worry about 2 years or 10 years or 5 years, just 10 goals you'd like to accomplish in the next 12 months, and write them in the present tense, almost like you're submitting an order. And just write down, I earn, I achieve, I weigh, I drive such and such a car, I own, whatever it happens to be, and the goals will be financial goals, family goals, physical goals, and so on. Write down 10. And then you take this list of 10, and you say, if I had a magic wand, and I could wave this magic wand, and I could have any one goal on my list within 24 hours, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on my life? Which one goal? And go over it. And usually this will jump out at you. It'll jump out at you like a spider in a horror movie. It'll grab you. And put a circle around that goal. And that's a goal you transfer to a clean sheet of paper, and then you follow the 7 steps. Write it down, set a deadline, make a list of everything you have to do to accomplish it, organize the list into a checklist, take action, and then do something every day. If you'll just do this simple exercise, then you'll all be rich. You make notes all the time, make notes. Now you can actually capture all your notes on your phone, but what I found is that if you write it down, it records into your brain, and your chances are you'll remember it. I found that if your goals are not in writing, and one of the things I taught, and I've taught more than 5 million people, is write your goals down on paper. And write them down in the present tense as though you had already achieved them. I earn X number of dollars in 2019. I am a self-made millionaire by January 1st, 2025. I weigh X number of pounds. I live in a 5,000 square foot house with a separate bedroom for each one of my children. In other words, write it down as though it were already a fact, and you're just reporting it. You're just reporting the fact. Your subconscious mind is marvelous, but what it does is it only thrives on goals that you pronounce in the now, in the present tense. And so you now have a dynamism. It's called I'll think of the word, but it's a dynamism in your brain where your brain knows that you're only earning this amount of money, but now you're saying, but I earn this amount of money. Your brain knows that you're not a millionaire, but now you're saying, I am a millionaire. And so your brain goes to work to close this gap between where you are and where you want to be. And your brain starts to work 24 hours a day. And it works, and it gives you ideas. Each person here has what is called the superconscious mind. And this mind has been talked about for 5,000 years, and some call it the oversoul, and some people call it the God mind. Some people call it God, Spirit, whatever it happens to be. But there's this incredible power in the universe that you can tap into. You could just reach into it by simply writing down a goal clearly on a piece of paper, and then this mind goes to work 24 hours a day to bring it into your life. Always work from a list. If you don't work from a list, it's very much like taking your hands off the wheel of your car going down a winding road in the mountains. What happens is your life's going to go up, and you're instantly going to start doing irrelevant and unimportant and useless things. And at the end of the day, you'll be exhausted and you'll have accomplished nothing. When you make out a list of all the things you will need to do to achieve your goal, you'll begin to see that this goal is far more attainable than you thought. What you'll see is what was a fantasy before starts to become a reality. The more things you write down, the more you think, well, I could do this, and I could do that, and I could do this and this. And it starts to occur to you that doubling or tripling your income, becoming financially independent, hey, I could do this. like Annie in the movie, in the play. I could do that. I could do that. Henry Ford once said that anything can be accomplished if you break it down into enough small steps. As I said before, Confucius said a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You can build the biggest wall in the world, one brick at a time. Your goals must be in writing. Many people say, oh, I know exactly what I want. And I've met and worked with these people over the years, and you know something? They're almost all failures. They say, oh, I know what I want. I don't have to write it down. Yes, you do, because until you start writing, we find that there's an incredible connection between the head and the hand. And when you start to write goals, you'll be absolutely astonished what comes out on the paper. And when you write a goal down, you engage in what is called a psychoneuromotor activity. You activate your visual powers, your audio powers, and your kinesthetic powers. And whatever you write down, you actually program straight into your subconscious mind, where it starts to work 24 hours a day. Great stuff, let me tell you. Now, your goals must be clear, specific, detailed, and measurable. You must write out your goals as if you were placing an order for your goal to be manufactured in a factory at a great distance. And what they would do is they would create your goal, your order, and send it to you exactly as you wrote it down. Albert Einstein said that your goal must be so clear that a 6-year-old child could understand it clearly and explain it to another 6-year-old child and be able to tell you if you had achieved your goal or how close you were. This is why you never say, well, my goal is to be happy, and my goal is to be rich, and my goal is to be popular and meet the right person. These are not goals. These are fantasies. They are wishes. Even crazy people have these wishes. A goal is something that is written down and specific and clear, and your most important goal must be measurable so you know exactly where you are relative to the goal. Now, only 3% of adults have written goals worldwide, and everybody else works for them. In fact, the studies done at Yale and Harvard proved over a 20-30 year period that people with written goals ended up earning and having a net worth 10 times greater than people without goals, holding constant for intelligence, grades, graduation from courses, industries, marital status, and parts of the country. The people who started with goals were 10 times more likely to be successful and were worth 10 times more than the others in the course of a few years. Goal setting is really great. Set a deadline. Set a deadline, and then if necessary, set sub-deadlines on your goal. For example, if you set a 12-month goal to double your income, then you break it down into 9 months, 6 months, 3 months, and then 2 months, 1 month. And then if you're really smart, week by week by week, and some people even break their goals down into daily activities. If it's a 20-year goal, break it down into 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 3 months, and then 1 month. The more you break your goal down, the more likely it is you will achieve it. And then you complete your big goal one step at a time. Now, your subconscious mind uses deadlines as forcing systems. They drive you consciously and unconsciously toward achieving your goal on schedule. Anais Nin once said that your subconscious can work against you because when you set a big goal, you're disrupting your subconscious. So your subconscious mind will tell you that it's not possible and will attempt to sabotage you. And you know the way your subconscious mind sabotages you? It tells you, you can't achieve this goal. You don't need to write it down. It's okay as long as you know what it is. Because of the fear of failure, what you do is you don't write the goal down, and that way you can't fail. Isn't that clever? And people say, well, if you don't expect anything good, you'll never be disappointed. And these people have no future. You write it down as if by writing it down, it was guaranteed to you. And in many cases, it will be if you write it down. If your goal is big enough, set sub-deadlines. If you want to achieve financial independence, you may set a 10 or 20-year goal and then break it down year by year so that you know how much you have to save and invest each year. If for some reason you don't achieve your goal by the deadline, simply set a new deadline. There are no unreasonable goals, only unreasonable deadlines. And Other things can happen that you hadn't expected that will put your deadlines off. Don't worry about it. Just set a new deadline and go back to work. Select your number one most important task for each day. This is the key to time management. Set priorities on your tasks and always work on the most important one first. Set priorities on your list using the 80-20 rule. Ask yourself this question: if I could only do one thing on this list before I was called out of town for a month, which one activity would I want to be sure to complete? And that becomes the task that you start on before anything else. Whatever you answer to that question, put a number one next to that activity. Then, as you're analyzing your list and setting priorities, you ask, if I could only do one other task on this list, which one task would be the most valuable use of my time? Then write a number 2 next to that task. Keep asking this question: what is the most valuable use of my time on this list? Until you have your 7 top tasks organized by sequence and priority. Here's another question that you can ask. If I could only do one thing all day long, which one activity would contribute the most value to my work and to my goals? You see, focus and concentration are the keys to success. Focus means that you are clear about exactly what it is that you want to accomplish, and concentration requires that you dedicate yourself to doing only those things that move you toward your most important goal. Now here's an exercise for you. It's called the quick list method. What you do is you write down 3 goals that you'd like to accomplish in the foreseeable future. You write them down in less than 30 seconds without taking any time to think. You write down your 3 most important goals in life right now. Now, whatever you write down will be an accurate picture of what you really want in your life right now. When you only have 30 seconds to write down 3 goals, your answers will be as accurate as if you had 30 minutes or 3 hours. This is a wonderful exercise for you to engage in, and with our students, we take them through this quick list method, this 3-goal exercise in every area of their life: their family, their income, their business, their customers, products, services, markets, sales. We just write down the 3. But in your case, just write down your 3 most important goals in life and write them down quickly and then look at them, as sometimes you'll be surprised. Identify the knowledge, information, and skills you will need to achieve your goal. Remember, to achieve a goal that you've never achieved before, you're going to have to learn things and do things you've never done before. You cannot achieve anything more than you're achieving today with the same level of knowledge and skill that you have today. If you could, you'd already have done it. So identify the skills that you'll have to develop to be in the top 10% of your field. Identify the most important skill, and then identify the number 1 skill. Now here's a great discovery. Your weakest key skill sets the height of your income and your success. Your weakest key skill. And improving or bringing up that 1 weak skill, or acquiring that 1 weak skill, will enable you to make more progress than any other factor at the moment. You can make more progress by going to work on the 1 skill that is holding you back more than any other factor. So ask this question: what 1 key skill, if you developed and did it in an excellent fashion, would have the greatest positive impact on your life? What 1 skill, if you developed and did it consistently in an excellent fashion, would help you the most to achieve your most important goal? Whatever the skill, write it down, make a plan, and work on it every day. Sometimes your major goal is the development of the skill necessary to achieve your major goal. And this is a life-changing insight, by the way. The hardest part of achieving your goal is to take the first step. Most people do not have the willpower or self-discipline to take the first step. But once you write down a goal, you always know the first step. You always know the first thing that you need to do. The first step is always clear, and so your job is to take the first step. And when you take the first step, the second step will appear. And if you take the second step, the third step will appear. And step by step, you can accomplish any goal. take action on the most important thing on your list. Do something, launch, get going, do it now, do it instant, do it immediately. Get up and do something. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be revising your papers, it can be making a phone call, it can be ordering a book, it could be something, but do something, which is sort of like the kickoff in a football game. Just kick the ball off as far as you can. Just fantasize like a child prior to Christmas. Just imagine that you could create your world perfectly, and what would it look like? And then here's the key question: what would you have to do? What would have to happen? What would be the first step that you would have to take today to begin creating your perfect business and career future? If your goal is to double and triple your income, what is the first step that you would have to take right now? And here's a great discovery. Everybody knows the first step. The first step is clear. Confucius said, a journey of 1,000 leagues begins with a single step. The fact is, the hardest part of success is taking the first step in the direction that you want to go. Remember that. That's what holds most people back. The most important word that I have found in success is clarity. Clarity, clarity. Successful people are very clear about what they want. And here's an interesting discovery. The greater clarity you have, the faster you draw into your life the resources necessary to achieve it. So in determining what you want, there's an activity that I teach to the senior executives of billion-dollar corporations, and it's called idealization. So you start off by idealizing your perfect life. You imagine that there are no limitations on what you can do or be or have. Imagine that you have all the time and all the money. You have all the friends and all the contacts, all the education and all the experience that you need to accomplish any goal that you could set for yourself. Imagine that you could wave a magic wand and make your life perfect in each of the 4 key areas of life. If your life was perfect in every area, what would it look like? Now here's the point before we go into the 4 areas. The fear of not achieving your goal, what we call self-limiting beliefs, hold you back more than anything else. And your self-limiting beliefs are not based on reality. That's why you have to constantly think, if I had no limitations, what goals would I set for myself? So let's start with the 4 big areas. The first area has to do with your income and your business and your career. Project forward 5 years. If your income, business, career was perfect 5 years from now, what would it look like? How would it be different from today? How much would you be earning? What kind of work would you be doing? Who would you be working with? What position would you have in your business? We call this the creation of a 5-year fantasy. Develop the habit of self-discipline. There seems to be a direct relationship between self-discipline and success in every part of life. The number one reason that people don't succeed is because they can't discipline themselves to do the planning and preparation and then the hard work necessary. So how do you discipline yourself? You make a list of everything you have to do during the day. You set priorities on your list, and then you start on your most important task first thing and discipline yourself to keep working. Once you've decided on your most important task, resolve to concentrate single-mindedly on that one task until it's 100% complete. In time management, we call this single-handling, and single-handling will increase your productivity by as much as 500%. It is a key practice of all top people. Self-discipline is a habit that you can learn by practice. It's perhaps the most important habit of all for success is to make a decision to do something and then have the discipline to follow through and work on that every single day. Now, what is it that top people think about most of the time? They think about how to achieve their goals. They think about how to become excellent. They think about how to solve their problems. They're always thinking about how. They're always thinking positively and constructively and in terms of actions that they can take to achieve their goals. Now here's the good news. When you think about your goals and how to achieve them, it makes you happy. So people who are thinking about their goals are happy most of the time. They're more positive. They're more creative. They have better friendships. They have more energy. They get up earlier and they work harder because they have clarity about what they want.
If the dreams are strong enough and the purpose is strong enough, we will pay the price. Developing a good plan for the next 10 years especially, some of the things you want to accomplish. Let our dreams pull us through, our objectives sustain us, get us up early, keep us up late, drive us to do the disciplines, read the books, take the classes, study, whatever is necessary. And it's going to serve as a model so that you can teach this to your children, you can teach it in classes, you can teach it anywhere. One of my goals was someday to be financially independent. My father convinced me years and years ago that someday I should be debt-free. Owe no one anything. My mother and father practiced that. When I inherited the estate, all the lands and the house and the buildings and the things and the cars and everything, guess how much was owing when I inherited it all? Zero. Not one penny. Everything free. It is a glorious feeling for no one to have a claim on anything you got. Maybe you want to be in the top 10 in wealth. Is Bill Gates still number one? The top 10 or the top 20? I mean, whatever. Maybe you're working on a new invention. Congratulations. Someday, who knows? Mark Hughes had a passion for helping kids that had drug problems. One year he gave $8 million. $8 million. When I first met him, he couldn't give 800. Finally, he could give 8 million. Andrew Carnegie said, I'm going to spend the first half of my life accumulating money, and I'm going to spend the last half of my life giving it all away. That's big time. In the first half of his life, he accumulated $400 million, which back then was a lot of money. Guess what he did the last half of his life? He gave it all away. What 5 things have you already accomplished that you're proud of? We've accomplished some things in the past. Let's give ourselves credit for that. When you're working with kids, this is important. Sometimes even for kids, you have to do a little coaching. Sports or school or whatever. Did you win a blue ribbon? Did you come in first? So this is part of this format, to do a little coaching to help people get through these exercises. We've accomplished some things in the past. Let's give ourselves credit for that. Now, here's the next exercise, and this is going to take some time. Next question. What do you want in the next 10 years? I want you to make a list of at least 50 items. Now, this is not what you think you can get. This is what you want. If everything fell into place and you could have anything you wanted in the next 10 years, what would that list be? Not something you think you can earn, not something you think you can buy, not something you think you can, finally be so successful you can get. This is what would really do it for you the next 10 years. I want you to make this list. And here's the deal now. I want you to put each item one under the other. Not side by side, but one under the other. And make as long a list as you possibly can in the time I'm going to give you. One underneath the other. Just start writing now, as fast as you can. Abbreviate where you can, make a longer list. If something's private, put it in code so nobody could figure it out if they got a hold of this list. Just let your dreams, run free here. Not what you think you can get, but what you want. If everything fell into place, and you could have whatever you wanted the next 10 years, what would that be? Little things, major things, insignificant things, doesn't matter. Just make the list. Places you want to visit. I've been to a lot of countries, but I got a long list of countries I haven't been to yet. Last year I checked Cyprus off my list. What countries haven't you been to that you'd like to visit the next 10 years? Cities you'd like to visit. I've never been to Venice. I've been around the world and all over Italy, and I've never been to Venice, so it's on my list. You'd think I've been everywhere, 39 years. Not yet. What experiences would you like to have in the next 10 years? Parachute out of an airplane, star in a movie, play in a rock and roll band, win a gold medal in the Olympics, start a new family, learn to play a musical instrument, try a new sport. Bill Bailey's after me to go skiing. I'm not really a winter person. I let my friends go north, I go south. They say, do you ski? I said, yes, water ski. But he's got me convinced I have to go try it. He likes the snow, I like the sand. What would you like to learn? Next 10 years. Now I've got to learn to play golf. John Battanti, Bill Bailey on my case. Now it's a test of friendship. Learn to play golf or don't come see us anymore. What do you want for your children? That's a whole list in itself. Education, places you want to take them. My parents traveled. So valuable for me. I missed 21 weeks of high school. My junior and senior year combined. 21 weeks I missed. Still graduated third. Because my parents took me everywhere. They wanted me to meet, and they wanted me to see, and they wanted me to do. What new skill would you like to learn over the next 10 years? When I started learning new skills at age 25, it changed my life. I learned sales, multiplied my income by 5 first year. I learned how to find good people, recruiting, multiplied my income some more. Learned how to organize, learned how to promote, rewarding people for small steps of progress. I became so good at that. My income went crazy. Maybe you'd like to give seminars, write some books. The next 10 years. Some things right away, within the next year, some on out there. 10 years is a pretty good chunk of time. Some changes you'd like to make, some habits you'd like to drop, some new ones you'd like to acquire. You might make a list of the people you want to meet over the next 10 years. I got Buck Owens coming up right into this month. Me and Buck. Bakersfield, oil patch country. It'll be so much fun to check Buck Owens off my list. I was having breakfast the other morning. Guess who was there? Milton Berle. 93 years old, going strong. Gosh, it was incredible because I'd never met him before. Benevolence goals. Maybe you've got a long list of projects you'd like to support. Now, this is not what you think you can do. This is what you'd really like to do. Make a list of your health goals. Got to have a good physical support system over the next 10 years. How healthy do you want to be? Eliminate some illnesses, eliminate some weaknesses. Get strong for competition in the 21st century. So keep your list going. What's got you turned on? I want you to start working on turning your lights on for accomplishments. You can't believe what you can accomplish if you'll just work hard on this list. It's amazing how adults have, a problem with this, right? Let's see. And kids don't have any problem. They'd be asking for extra sheets of paper by now. Kids say, you mean anything I want the next 10 years? Yes, write it all down. They would go like